Howdy folks, Bluesboyjag here. This is not a cigar box guitar. This is a Firefly, and it is a copy of the Gibson ES125. It's a dual pickup, and these are P90s. I picked this up a few years ago. Firefly is a company made out of China. They've been making guitars for many years under various names, and I picked up this one, and I picked up another model of this same guitar that only has one pickup right here. I'll do a review on that one at a later time. This is a beautiful guitar. It's got a great finish on it. I did have to replace both of the P90s that it shipped with because they were, let's just say, substandard. And I believe I paid about $50 a piece for these pickups, and they sound amazing. They have adjustable pull pieces, and you can tell on this one I've raised the pull pieces pretty far up. This is a more modern bridge as far as I'm aware. It's a modern bridge put on the wood mounting piece right there. And I did have to make a lot of adjustments to this guitar. Three-way toggle. The adjustments that I had to make, like I said, I replaced the P90s because the ones that they shipped with were pretty bad. They hummed pretty bad, and they had a weak output, just not really usable. And I bought these on eBay, and these pickups sound much better. I've raised the pull pieces. I had to raise them up pretty far to get close enough to the strings. I don't know if you can see that, but the pull pieces are raised up a good 1/4 of an inch. However, it sounds amazing. Now, if you lower those pull pieces in the pickup just a little bit, you're going to lose a lot of volume and a lot of tone, which some people might like that. Some people like the more mellow, I guess, rounded tone on these guitars. But I like them to be a little bit more spanky, but also be able to have some nice bass response. That's just me. So like I said, I did have to replace those two pickups, and I had to adjust this wood underneath the bridge there. I had to do it very, very carefully because you don't want to, I wanted to lower it, so I sanded with a Dremel tool, but you don't want to grind out too much of the wood because you got to throw the whole thing away and buy another one and start all over again. They ship those bridges intentionally high because they don't know where you want them to be ultimately. So they always give you a little bit of room to come down. So this piece of wood right here, it took me, maybe about 30-45 minutes of very slow grinding and then testing, and then grinding down some more and then testing, putting the strings tuning the strings back up, and then playing some songs and checking the tone and the tone variation between the front pickup and the rear pickup. And there's just a lot of different things you have to do to get these guitars sometimes set up the way you like them. And they are very inexpensive. I paid $189 for this guitar. So it's not that big a deal that I had to replace the pickups and put a couple hours into the setup. I adjusted the bridge, which was super easy. Take off the cover here. Got the right tool, then you can fix that pretty quickly. I didn't have to modify that very much. The strings were just a little bit higher than I preferred, so I lowered the bridge and I adjusted the neck, and I put some elixir strings on, which is what I always use. And that's pretty much all I had to do with it to get it the way I like it. I know there are other bridge options that look more like the traditional real bridge that was on this guitar. By the way, Stevie Ray Vaughan had one of these guitars. I think he had the single pickup model, which I also have. I'll do a review of that at a later time. What I like about the dual pickup configuration is you get more tone options, way more tone options. The other one that I've got, the pickup is here, and you can get some various different tones, but you have to tweak your amp, and you have to tweak your volume and your control and your tone control on the guitar, depending on what song you want to play. So if you're playing a gig, you want to play some rock and roll, then you want to set it up for that. Have your amp setting just right and your volume and tone. And if you want to go play a country song right after that, you're going to have to adjust. This is on the other guitar, on the other single coil guitar. You have to adjust your amp, and you have to adjust these settings here pretty much every time you change styles of music, which is normal. That's been going on for many, many years. A lot of people today think, wow, you have to do all that just to change from a rock to a country song? That's pretty much how everybody did it back in the old days, because you only had one pickup. So you had to tweak your volume and your tone on the guitar, and you had to tweak your volume and your tone on the amplifier. So a dual pickup, you don't have to do that nearly as much. On this one, I love the tone between the two pickups, and if you have both pickups engaged, it's a nice, clear, bright tone. I mean, listen to the shimmer on top of the high strings. Fantastic, fantastic blues tone, especially on that 6th string. Now I can move up to the single pickup here. Very nice. As I said earlier, I'm using elixir strings, which is the only brand I've ever used. I like the sound of them, and they sound bright if you want them to get bright, and they sound dim or dull if you want them to get dull with your amp settings and your guitar settings. So elixir strings are my favorite by far. They do last a long time as well. So with this guitar, you've got bass setting, and you've got both pickups, and then you've got the treble setting, which is your traditional. So here's the treble setting. And here's the middle setting. And the bass setting. I don't know if you can tell over the interwebs, but the differentiation between the treble, middle, and bass is absolutely perfect. So, not too bright, but bright enough, right? That's the treble pickup. Bridge pickup. All right, here's the middle pickup, or middle setting, both pickups. Just enough bass added to the previous tone. Nice Nice and even, doesn't drastically change it. And that's what you want. Still in the middle setting here. Nice heavy bass, but not too heavy, right? It's still got a little bit of brightness to it. So I'm using a Roland Cube 10GX. I love this amplifier. It's got some great tones. It's got some old-fashioned reverb settings, which is what I have on now. So I'm picking way down here at the bridge. That's exactly the tone I want for that kind of 50s boogie woogie. Kind of a jazzy mixture with blues as far as the tone. Man, coming out of this little dinky amp, right? It sounds like it's coming out of a $2,000 Fender. I don't know if that says more about the guitar or the amp. I do love this amp though. I've been playing this these types of guitars on this amp for a couple years, and I play assisted living gigs and I play rock and roll gigs with this very same amp, and I'll go directly into the PA and it sounds amazing. But this is really a guitar review here, right? So that's the in-between pickup. Here's the bass pickup. Now, I don't have this amp up very loud. I've got the gain all the way up, but I've got the volume at about 20% maybe. It's a loud amp with an amazing bass response. But hey, again, this is a guitar review, not an amp review. All right, so that's your bass pickup. Here's your middle pickup. Isn't that amazing? It goes from a crunchy, deep bass to a perfectly balanced country sound. If I want a little bit more grind, I just pick harder. That has a lot to do with the amp for sure. So those of you who are saying, what amp is that, man? Cube 10GX, $179 with a direct out into the PA if you want. But again, back to the guitar. All right, so I'm going to go down to the treble pickup. When I get off of this mountain, you know where I'm gonna go. Straight down the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico, to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Just to come on by if there's anything that she could do. Up on Cripple Creek. Great sound. That's a treble pickup. Here's the in-between pickup. Really balanced. Just enough bass, but not too much. Just enough treble, but not too little. Just an old chunk of coal. I'm gonna be a diamond someday. I'm gonna grow in everybody's face. So, very balanced tone for all sorts of styles of music. So let's try something here a little bit heavier. So I'm going to take the gain to the mid gain setting. That was the minimum gain setting, but with the volume of gain all the way up. So you got 3 different gain settings: low, medium, and high. So that was the medium with the gain low. Does that make any sense? So middle pickup, this is pretty mid-rangey right now. This is the middle pickup. And I've got the second gain setting turned on right now. All right, treble pickup. So now we're getting into those upper mids, which is kind of hurting my ear. So that's a little bit harsh for my ear right there. But I go back to the middle pickup. I prefer that much better. But hey, to each his own, right? So now I'm at the bass setting. Now that sounds like Stevie Ray. So with that mid gain setting, it's a little bit too crunchy for me with that much crunch. That was 100% distortion though. So I'm going to try a couple more things here. I'm going to bring the distortion down about 20 more percent. Now we're talking. Has some punch, has some distortion to it, not too much. I'm at the middle setting here. There we go. All right, one more gain setting, and you know where we're going here. We're going extra hot, extra country. Sounds pretty damn good. On the treble setting for the pickups. That's the middle and the bass. Not much difference between those two. Now, I don't know if I told you earlier, I have a wound third string on here. That does make a difference as far as your tone. Sounds great, man. So all these settings sound great. The clean and the mid distortion and the heavy distortion sound great on this guitar. It's a very balanced tone. Some guitars you might set have a good sound with one setting, and then you make a little bit of a tweak and it just changes everything. But the combination of these two, this amp, the Roland Cube 10GX, I highly recommend it for a great little home amp, and you can also use it for live gigs, direct out. Sounds like a whole different guitar. So I've played a lot of gigs with this with my pedal board. I've got all sorts of different pedals on it, and it works pretty damn good. Now there is one caveat that I noticed on these guitars. My other one has this problem to some degree too, is the tuner's slip. And you can buy a decent set of tuners for 15-20 bucks that should last you forever. So that's no big deal. So overall, a really solid, beautiful guitar that I did have to put some time into it. Like I said, I had to put a few hours into it to get it just the way I wanted. Now, for guitar players that aren't that picky, or maybe beginners or semi-beginners, they may not know a lot of the different nuances to get different tones and, you know, different settings for your songs. So you probably won't have to put that much time into it because it takes a little while to learn how to do all that. I like to have my guitars rough and ready, which means I want it to be set up to easily go from rock to blues to country to metal. I don't want to have to click this and move this and change my amp and change my pedal board and da-da-da-da-da-da. I like it to change pretty quick and easily, so I don't have to be standing up on stage and tweaking this and tweaking that and tweaking the other. Of course, that does have a lot to do with your pedals and all that stuff. Morning rain keeps on falling like the tears that fall from my eyes. And when I sit in my room staring out through the gloom, it's the rain of the same old blue. Thanks for watching. Be sure and subscribe and check out my website, jagshouse.com. Cigar box guitars is not like this one since 2004. And we'll see you next time.